So it's going to be page 4. Yeah. So these few verses from Al-Waqi'ah, please, Mahdi, read them.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنه لقرآن كريم في كتاب مكنون لا يمسه إلا المطهرون تنزيل من رب العالمين صدق الله العظيم.
Oh, thank you. I think I made a mistake. I put TaHa here, but it's supposed to be cut, and it's supposed to be here, TaHa. Okay, so that's how we go back to TaHa. Okay.
The kids got happy because I said Kareem.
His name. Inshallah, he'll be Kareem and he'll be among al-mutahharun. So why I brought those verses and I asked Mehdi to start with. So if you remember, when we got to this area in TaHa, I never thought like this surah TaHa is going to take me longer than any surah in my life, because when we got in verse number 19, where the ayah says, قَالَ أَلْقِهَا يَا مُوسَى, it said, delivered it, O Musa, فَأَلْقَاهَا فَإِذَا هِيَ حَيَّةٌ تَسْعَى. So then they translated it was a serpent, but I said like Hayya is living. They remember, like I brought that to your attention since then. قَالَ خُذْهَا وَلَا تَخَفْ, just take it and don't fear. سنعيدها سيرتها, and the word sira, and we're going to return it to its first journey. You know, it also bothered me what journey that a serpent has. But then it has another ayah. It says, وَضْمُمْ يَدَكَ إِلَى جَنَاحِكَ, and join your power to your side, because you have this power. It will come out fair, مِنْ غَيْرِ سُوء, without badness. آيَةً أُخْرى, another sign. And then we see the ayah, لِنُرِيَكَ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا الْكُبْرَى, like we're going to show you our, greatest signs. And that's how Surah Al-Isra started. Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi, what was the reason? It says, لِنُرِيَهُ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا الْكُبْرَى. These are the verses that really started me on the journey to find the truth. Why? Because Hayya, that they translated serpent, in Surah Al-Shu'ara, he said, Thu'ban. فَأَلْقَى عَصَاهُ, so when he delivered his asa, and I'm calling it asa for now, okay? And it was a thu'ban. Mubin, clarifying. It is the turban that's clarifying. Since when, a turban is clarifying? What knowledge is turban going to give me? So these are the questions that I asked. And because of those questions, you realize that the language we speak and the language we learn in schools for all the Arab word is a lie. Why is this? Because in Surah Fussilat, it says, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, those who wanted to cover the truth, لَا تَسْمَعُوا لِهَذَا الْقُرْآنِ, just don't listen to this Qur'an. But what you do to it, وَالْغَوْ فِيهِ. So they figured out right away at the early time of the revelation, let's create a language. Because once you create a language that's different than what the message of the Qur'an, they can play with you any way they want to. And this is really what happened. Now, I'm advising our students, don't go learn the Arabic that's in schools. That's the Arabic that we learn to speak with it, which is not the Quranic language. To find the Quranic language, the Surah Al-Waqi'ah tells you about it. Here it says, إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ, like it's a very generous Qur'an, like it's going to give you the knowledge that you can never even think of. But where is it? It's in a concealed book. This book is concealed, it's protected. But who can touch it? Who can get to it? It says al-mutahharun. What do we mean by al-mutahharun? The purged ones. Why? Because they have to let go of everything they know. It's just like when we started Surah TaHa, we said, let go of your comfort zone. So the Arabic that we learned in school was created, and if you dig into all the scholars that known as scholars, most of them are taking their source of information is what we call al-Kitab al-Muqaddas, which is the Talmud. And the Talmud is fabricated book. Now, even our Christian researchers, they are happy to find that the Talmud was never really the true scripture from God. So you need to be among al-mutahharun. You need to let go. Why I'm bringing this? To tell you, as we're learning from the sounds of the letters, from the dictionary Maqayis and the help of other older dictionary like Al-Ain is even older than Maqayis, let go of the belief system. It's shocking me every day as I'm learning the surah about the story of Musa. So that I just wanted to introduce it again so you don't stick to the belief system. Let go of it so you leave room. Because if you do not clean yourself from the wrong belief, you're not going to allow the new information to come in and to sink in. Okay? Anyway, so that was a good or a review for Let Go. Now we'll continue with TaHa. I remember last class, I focused on explaining Ayah 38. إِذْ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّكَ مَا يُوحَىٰ. And I explained to you whatever was revealed to her was in Surah Al-Qasas. Then I had to take you on a journey to Surah Al-Qasas because it brings all the beginning of the story of Musa. And we explained 39 and 40 through the story of Al-Qasas. So how many of you have questions from the story of Al-Qasas that we covered last week? And I sent you an email and I said, like, this is not a khutbah Jum'ah that you just go once a week, you sit an hour, listen to the imam, whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense, you feel you did your duty. This is a class where you are really exploring the Quran. That you have to give yourself time to sink in, to sink the information in during the week, to question it. It's not here for another belief system. It is here to experience Quran, to experience the information and see if it resonates or not. And if it does not resonate, it means we need to keep reviewing. Why? Because the truth is one. We cannot find all these differences. قل لو كان من غير عند الله, if it was coming from other than Allah, لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا. Like you will find a lots of differences. But when you start to dig, you will not find any problem. The problem was us. The problem that we did not clean our hearts from the wrong belief system. So any questions about Al-Qasas, or you want me to share the document and go quickly over it? What do you guys suggest? I want you to have interact in the class and learn. There are lots of surprises in Surah Al-Qasas that I found after I did it last week.
Now, الثعباني, the one you just mentioned, that's the Arabic language for a snake, right? But in this case here, does it mean like a revelation?
No, Ta'ban is not the Arabic word for snake.
Oh, it's not. So, but in this case, it sounds
Ta'ban
like a revelation.
Ta'ban is a plural of thab. And thab, if you just go to Maqayis, you're going to find thab huwa imtidad. It means an extension of something.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's in Maqayis. I can ask anybody. Mehdi, you can Google it quickly for Maqayis, or anyone who has access to Maqayis, you're going to find Thu'ban is a plural of Tha'ab, and the root word is Ta'ab. And Ta'ab bin Maqayis, I think Nasri and Tahir have AI Maqayis, and it says Ta'ab is an extension of something.
Yeah, and then Tha'ban would be a limited extension of something. So a snake could be an example of it.
An example.
An example of the word, yes.
Yeah, but it is not the snake.
Right.
The really word snake in Arabic, Brother Abdullah, is af'a. Did you heard of af'a before, Brother Abdullah? You're muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I never really used that word before because we always use local language, which is completely different.
Oh, okay. Well, af'a is the Arabic word for snake. I think the Egyptians use af'a a lot.
Okay, well, because yeah, okay, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Yes, okay. So now, what was revealed to Musa? And I wanted to share with you Surah Al-Qasas just briefly to point out things that I didn't point last week. In Surah Al-Qasas, you see the ayah started with تِلْكَ آيَاتُ الْكِتَابِ الْمُبِينِ. Okay, so they are clarifying signs of the book. Okay, تلك آيات الكتاب المبين, clarifying, signs of the clarifying book. So this book, the book of existence, the book of life, the book of records, name it any name. The ayah started with, why I'm emphasizing this, because I wanted to compare it later, what I did last week with Yusuf. But then we saw the introduction. We did all of that last week. And then we started here, starts the story of Musa. وأوحينا إلى أم موسى أن ارضعيه. First of all, أوحينا. You never inspire someone to nurse, because nursing, whether in animal or human, is an instinct. Like you don't inspire someone to eat, is an instinct. But the inspiration was in her to nurture him, basically to teach him the teachings of Al Imran. Because we said Musa is coming from Al Imran, the family of Imran. But then you see here, I put it in red, فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ. So when, we don't know when, it could be when he's 10 years old, it could be when he's 12, whenever she feels the fear, that's when she's going to what? Deliver him to the Yem. And Al-Yem really is used in the other languages, Aramaic, and Syrian, all of that, as it's the group that teaches the religion, like what they call al-kahana, is those who were in charge of teaching the spirituality. But that was his purpose. But the Quran is inspiring her to first teach him herself, the teaching of Al-Imran. But when she gets the fear from Pharaoh that he is attacking this type of people, then she can't just put him anywhere. The purpose will take care of him. Just let him with any teachers. And then it says, وَلَا تَخَافِي, another sentence for fear. And I'm trying to highlight for you the word fear in this surah. وَلَا تَخَافِي, don't fear. إِنَّا رَدُّهُ إِلَيْكِ وَجَعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. So the inspiration that she really got, he's going to be a messenger. And for him to be a messenger and give the message, that was the teaching of Al-Imran, okay, which is the teaching of Ibrahim. So that's what she needed to do. So that's the beginning of his journey. Now, we saw also فَالْتَقَطَهُ, then Pharaoh had to pick him. Why he picked him? He picked him because Pharaoh and Haman and their soldiers, they're looking for someone who has good knowledge, who is strong, who is good to be among the soldiers. But they were mistaken because they thought that they're going to get someone on their side. Later on, it was a mistake that they got him in. And then we got to Ayah 9, and we saw like his wife or Imra'a, sometimes also when it's with the ta marbuta, it does not mean really wife, okay? But sometimes it comes wife, sometimes come woman, and sometimes come as folks, who knows? I was not there, but all I can say is he was told by Imra'at Fir'aun to keep him. Like, why it says do not kill him, really, I started to translate لا تقتلوه is do not deprive him of life. Because when they take and enslave someone, they deprive him of life. So she is saying he may benefit us. And I remember I showed you the similarities between Musa and Yusuf. Maybe I should stop here and do the similarities, unless you have question, no? Yes, go ahead, Saif.
I'm just like what would the purpose be behind changing it to do not deprive him of life? Like iqtal is like it's like renowned to just be kill.
No. We did that one time, but I think you missed it. I did the difference between qatala, that we think is safk dima, where you go and you really kill, versus amata. It's different. That's why it says about Muhammad, about Muhammad alayhi salam. I don't remember the ayah, but it just means قتلت نفسا does not mean really 100% you killed. It depends on the context of the ayah. Because if Fir'aun was really killing everyone, then who was his slave? He was enslaving people, so basically depriving them from life. Okay? When you put someone in jail for a lifetime, you deprived him for the freedom to live his life. So he is basically not living anymore. So that's the difference. Okay, so the Arabic is very, very like rich, like the Quranic Arabic. Every word is different than the other. So they are not all the same, but they're very close, like what we call in the same family, but they are not really meaning the same thing. What I wanted to share with you is quickly this. Look at the how the prophets come. You have Adam, Idris, Nuh, Hud, Ibrahim, Ismail, Ishaq, Yaqub, Yusuf, and then in between Shu'aib, but not much about Shu'aib in the Quran. So you see Yaqub, Yusuf, and then Musa. So the evolution from Yusuf to Musa was not that different. And Musa and Harun were at the same time. Then came Dawood and Sulaiman, and Sulaiman is the son of Dawood. And Yusuf is the descendant, child of Yaqub. Why I'm showing this, because you're going to see later on when we see the meaning of Asa, where it's coming from, what is all of that about, is going to start to show up. Now, I showed you last week similarities, and I don't know if you, where is the document of similarities between Yusuf and Musa. So if you remember Yusuf, it says, تِلْكَ آيَاتُ الْكِتَابِ الْمُبِينَ. That's the first ayah in Yusuf. The first ayah in Al-Qasas, تِلْكَ آيَاتُ الْكِتَابِ الْمُبِينَ. The difference is, the huruf, I forgot here the alif. The difference is the alif, lam ra, and here the difference is ta sim mim. Don't pass the Quran just like that. The Quran is a concealed book. You have to dig in to start to see things. So look, those two surahs, the Qasas has the story of Musa. Yusuf has the story of Yusuf. In Yusuf, it started with Ayatul Kitab al-Mubin. In Al-Qasas started Ayatul Kitab al-Mubin. Now, here, second, it says, نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. We track upon you the best trackings by revealing to you this Quran. That's in Yusuf. In Al-Qasas, he says, نَتْلُ عَلَيْكَ مِن نَبَأِ مُوسَى. We narrate to you from the news of Musa. And Fir'aun bilhaq, by the truth, okay? So here, it says we have the best narration, the truth. Here it says the truth. Now, in Yusuf, when Al-Aziz found Yusuf and he brought him to imra'atihi, okay? Same concept, but it says, أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا. So what he told her, honor his residency, he may benefit us, or we may take him as a child. In Al-Qasas, the same story is repeating. Imra'atu Fir'aun, okay, she said, عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا. Perhaps he may benefit us, or we may take him as a child. So you see, both journeys are very similar. The other thing was in Surah Yusuf, when Yusuf reached, maturity, أتيناه حكما وعلما. We gave him sound judgment and knowledge. حكما وعلما. Versus Al-Qasas, and that's the point that made me go back and redo Surah Al-Qasas this week. It's a very important point. Look, I put it in green. Green is garden, like, hey, I am discovering something. I'm just like happy with myself. Here, I said the difference between Yusuf and Musa is that Yusuf did not have the word istawa. It just has وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى أَتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. That's for Musa. But for Yusuf, it says بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ أَتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. So what's wrong with Musa? Why Musa needed to be completed or to be whole and settled completely? Istawa is settled completely. That's why I needed to go back and dig again in Surah Al-Qasas. So isn't it beautiful to see the two? What do you guys say? Huh? Oh, I feel like I'm just enjoying it by myself. You guys make me feel like you don't need this class anymore. You should enjoy it. That way you become among al-mutaharun, because then they start to give you more information and download. Me, when I loved that istawa in the middle last week, I will show you what I was shown the whole week about Surah Al-Qasas. Now, watch and see, because I said, why istawa? So I was guided. Istawa. He had a lots of fears. It started with his mother's fears, generational trauma. Look at his mother. فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ. His mother was full of fear for Musa. Okay? Generational trauma. We project ourselves to our children, then they suffer because of us as well. And then, but the Quran is inspiring her. لا تخافي. Don't have fears. Yet she was still full of fear. That's why in Ayah 10, it says, أصبح فؤاد أم موسى فارغا. Like her instinct is like she was almost gonna tell them, like, oh, I did this to him. I raised him this. But the universe was helping. Allah was helping. So the ayah kept going, and we stopped here at this point, and I'm putting this in blue for a very important point. Note this, it's in blue. You're going to see something important. When it says, حَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِ الْمَرَاضِعِ, حَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِ الْمَرَاضِعِ, like we prohibit it. Of course, I said you can never prohibit nursing, but you can prohibit nurturing. Like he was not able to accept information from others, like he was a rebellious child. Until his sister, Ukhto, she came and she said, I can take you to people that can be what? Good advisors to him. And they told you can never be an advisor to an infant who wanted to nurse and drink milk. But you can advise someone who's in his middle age, a teenager who starts to be rebellious. Now note, that's where we're going to see that word istawa. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ istawa. So now he settled completely. So now the story is going to explain to us why before he was not a whole. So you're going to see himself saying the story. دخل المدينة على حين غفلة. So one time he was just walking in the Medina. So he found these two people fighting. So what did Musa? فقضى عليه. So Musa pushed him. And he put him down. Qada does not mean qatala or amata. We don't know if he killed him yet, but we know he pushed him down. So when he did that, you can see he was very well nurtured by his mother. Look what he said. Rabbi inni dalamtu nafsi faghfir li. This is Musa. He's not even getting a revelation. He did not go to the Wadi Tuwa. He was not anything. This is the teaching of his mother starting to come out. Like it's inner knowing. From childhood now he's remembering like, oh, I did something wrong by bullying someone, pushing him, even though this is what he was trained in the castle to be a soldier of Pharaoh. In fact, there is a documentary, an Egyptian scholar who did a documentary about the pyramids, and he mentioned like they found, how they call them, they found signs that Musa was a general in the army of Pharaoh. Anyway, and then look what he's saying. قال ربي بما أنعمت علي. What blessed me. His mother was a blessing. That the teaching from his mother was a blessing. I will never be what? Supporter of criminals, مجرمين. Now look, I have it in red again. فأصبح في المدينة خائفا يترقب. Look at this sentence. He is still fearful, observing. So everywhere he's going with fear. He is still observing with fear. And then the guy that was asking to Musa to help him, okay, he is calling him to help him again. And Musa was like, hey, wait a minute. You are Ghawiyun Mubin. Like, indeed, you are a troublemaker. Like, I helped you yesterday, and now you are in trouble again. So, but when Musa wanted to also assault the challenge, so you can tell Musa is at an age where he's knowing, like, this is the group of Pharaoh, the soldiers and the supporters of Pharaoh. This is not from the supporters of Pharaoh. Yet the word Bani Israel never came in this surah at all. And there is a reason for that. So he told him, like, do you want to, deprive someone from life like you did yesterday for someone? أن تكون من المصلحين, you don't want to be among the righteous one. Then another man came from far off the Medina. What did he tell Musa? إن الملأ يأتمرون بك ليقتلوك فاخرج إني لك من الناصحين. I said, keep this in mind, it's in blue. What does it mean to you here? Ayah 20. And I'm going to try to slow down now because this is very critical. What does it mean to you, what you see that the blue in Ayah 20? I told you, watch out for the blue. Where is the blue earlier? It's in Ayah 12. Do you want me to bring Ayah 20 next to Ayah 12 so you can see them? What do you say?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay. Copy. I'm not going to cut it because it belongs here, but I'm going to copy and put it here. That's what I said. You start to enjoy the Quran when you start to ask, show me the truth, please. Okay, look what it says here. حَرَمْنَا عَلَيْهِ الْمَرَاضِعَ. All the nurturers, all the people that are in Al-Yam, all those teachers, they could not teach him. Until his sister went and she said, أهل بيت. أهل بيت. It's not really a family. I should not kept it as a family. But the inner circle, أهل is an inner circle. And it's not, Beit is not home, it's a domain. وَهُمْ لَهُ نَاصِحُونَ. Now the man that came from the side of the town, he's telling Musa, you better leave the town, and إِنِّي لَكَ مِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. What do you hear here? Come on, no one? Am I the only one who's enjoying the story?
Are these the ones that you are suggesting? Are they from Ahl al-Imran? Is that what?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Like they were there. They are not Bani Israel yet. They are the people that were supposed to advise Musa when he is under the leadership of Pharaoh, when he is in the castle of Pharaoh. He is learning to be a soldier of Pharaoh by the authority of Pharaoh and his soldiers, okay? Because it is Pharaoh and his soldiers, Pharaoh wa Haman wa junudahuma. They're the ones who picked him to be among them, okay? Now, Musa was about to say something, but they stopped her. And why they stopped her? Because from the beginning, when they told her, when you fear for him, alqihi fil yam, just leave him to go to the yam, and the universe will take care of him. Allah will take care of him. He has his guardians, he's guided. So when he did the mistakes he did, for him it's not a mistake in his inner self, because he was trying to stand up for the truth. But then when he saw the person falling down, he asked for forgiveness, because it's not good to harm anyone. That's what the message here so far. But they are the ones, inni laka min al-nasihin, I'm among your advisors. It's very clear. I don't know. Do you guys see it? Do you guys agree or not? I'm not going to continue until I hear something. Yes or no? You're here to interact and learn. Otherwise, go to any khutbah Jumu'ah.
No, I don't see the connection so far. I think I'm gonna need more time to look into it, but I'm not seeing those two verses connected somehow.
Okay. So Musa got out of the castle to the Medina, and he made a mistake, for example. The guy is in the castle, but he is among the advisors, but Pharaoh doesn't know about him. So you still have in the castle people that are teaching and living with the good principles of Allah is God, not Pharaoh. So as I continue the story, maybe it's going to clarify. I just don't want to keep going on to something that is not going to be clear to you. So if you guys feel it's very difficult, stop me. You know, if I invite my friends from MBT and they see everybody is quiet, you know what they're going to advise me? Fatma, they are not following you. You should just stop. Because I don't even get someone to interact to say yes or no. I mean, who can teach a class that they don't even say yes or no?
I was just
I
gonna,
just
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, it's clear that he had overseers and was protected through his life.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. I'm not saying no. I said, yeah, that's good.
What I got out of it was the fact that the same wording indicated that it was at the same time frame for Musa, meaning that he was not a child for the when the verses. So it rearranges the chronological order of things.
Yeah. So he is among the Nasihin, and this is what's happening. So Musa is already an adult, and they are watching over him, the Nasihin, you know. So his mother never nursed him, but she was nurturing, you know, a rebellious teenager, basically. Her and the people among her, because it was not alone. It doesn't say Ummihi only, it says Ahla Bayt. Ahl, you remember Ahl Bayt Muhammad. Who is Ahl Bayt Muhammad? We did that when I did Surah Al-Ahzab. They are the inner circle or the qualified. Really, the word Ahl has to be qualified to be someone. These are the qualified people that are from Al Imran, but unfortunately, they were enslaved by Pharaoh. But we're going to continue. Maybe if I continue the story, you guys start to see it much better. So
Well, you realize that you just solved the whole Shia Sunni conflict in the word of Ahl, right?
yeah.
Because they are the Sahaba, then the close ones. They're the same people then.
Exactly. But let's continue and see now. So I was at ayah 22. Inni laka min al-nasihin. Okay, note, I said always look at what's in red. خائفا يترقب. How many times so far you saw the word fear? Okay? It started with his mother. So fear, 1. La takhafi, 2. And then Musa here is خائفا يترقب, 3. Now, فخرج منها. So he left it. Normally is he left it is the Medina. He left it fearful, observing. قال ربي. So he is already موحد. He talks to Allah with forgive me, save me, help me. So he never took Fir'aun as God. قال ربي نجني من القوم. So now we have 4 sentences, 4 words of fear in just this 21 ayat. Then he went to Midian. ولما توجه تلقاء مدين. So when he headed towards Midian, قال عسى ربي أن يهديني. So he's still asking, ربي أن يهديني, guide me. So he never took Fir'aun as God, the complete way. This sentence already tells you why why the word istawa made me think. He is asking for it. أن يهديني سواء السبيل. سواء استوى من سواء من complete. That's why when I was comparing the two, I told you Yusuf didn't have the word istawa, but Musa had the word istawa. Now, he reached the water of Midian, and then he found those 2 girls. You all know the story. I'm not going to go over it again, but that's when I do Surah Al-Qasas, I do it in detail. Here, normally, I'm explaining Surah TaHa. So he found those 2 women. What's wrong with you? They said, our father cannot, draw water for us. So what did he do? An act of good, because that's him. That's what he was nurtured. فَسَقَى لَهُمَا ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى. And then he pulled himself. So he does good for the sake of the good, not for to get something. فَقَالَ رَبِّي إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. This is wonderful. This is good teaching to tell you when you do good, he was nurtured to do the good. Ask Allah to give me, to compensate me. Not expect the people themselves to say thank you and they compensate you. And no, you do good, but you'll be appreciated by Allah. So when he asked for this, guess what happened? Those two, one of them came and she told him, my father is calling you. يدعوك ليجزيك. So he is in that calling you to reward you for drawing water for us. And then what happened? So he went to the man and he told him the story, you know, because qassa is really to track, but we use qassa for story. And track to him the trackings, basically the whole tracking of the story. He said, do not fear. Now I'm 4 times seeing the word fear. لا تخف. Okay? قالت إحداهما يا أبتي, we know the story. Can you, employ him, and he will be the best employer. And then now I didn't want to go into details with when he told him ثماني حجج. Okay, I left it as hijaj because they say it's 8 years and 10 years. That's not true, but I don't want to get into that now. I want to continue so I can go to TaHa. Now, Musa is done with his life with that Shu'aib, with the Madian, and he's moving. فَلَمَّا قَضَى الْأَجَلِ. Okay, he completed the term. Normally, qada is not completed, but I just forgot to translate it. Istiwa is completion. Qada is like you get something to its goal, that it reached the goal. So when he reached the goal, okay, anasa, you see the word anasa here, which we saw in Surah TaHa. So that's now when he got to the shati, to the revelation, what we call revelation. Okay, he was told here, an alqi asaka. Okay, deliver your asa. So when he saw it shaking as if it were Jan, see now it's not a hayya, it is not a thurban, it looks like a Jan. These are so many questions. Now look at another word. It's in red. لا تخف. Don't fear. إنك من الأمينين. Do not fear. You are indeed of the secure ones now. And then continue with أسلك يدك في جيبك. The translation of this ayah in the online is awful. أسلك, means salaka. Okay, and salaka is to proceed through something. Yadaka is power. So it's that proceed through your power on your side comes out fair. Without badness, what we saw in TaHa. وَضْمُمْ إِلَيْكَ جَنَاحَكَ, and contain your power to your side from terror. So we were in 5 times fear to become terror. Like there is a terror now. But it says these are 2 proofs from your Rabb to Fir'aun and his, VIPs. They are indeed the folks who are out of harmony. So the fear and the terror, it's still making Musa in harmony. But Fir'aun and his folks and his VIPs are out of harmony. So let's keep discovering. قال رب إني قتلت منهم نفسا. Now he's explaining to his Rabb his fear. فأخاف. I do have fear that they deprive me of life. وأخي هارون. Now, أخي Harun, I put it in red for a reason because we have to explain what is Harun? What is أخي Harun? Is he a brother from a mom? Then Maryam, they told her, يا أخت هارون. There is a question mark here, which I do in the future. But أخي هارون هو أفصح مني لسانا. He's more articulate than myself. فأرسله معي, send him with me. رد أن يصدقني, so a support that will confirm. إني أخاف, a fear, يكذبون. I don't know if you guys are getting now the point of asa. What is this asa? I think it's manifesting in the surah, but you just have to focus. The fear that became terror when I'm facing you, when I'm in your presence, Allah. قال سنشد عضدك بأخيك. it said or it communicate more when we say Allah. We will support you with your brother. وَنَجْعَلْ لَكُمَا. We will give you authority. فَلَمَّا, look at ayah now, 36. Now the truth starts to prevail. I love how Allah guides us to the truth. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ مُوسَى. When Musa came to them with what? With our signs. Very clear, clarifying signs. قالوا إن هذا إلا سحر مفترى وما سمعنا بهذا. We never heard of this. Do we see the snake or hear the snake? Why do you think I have it in red? Do you hear a snake or see a snake?
Both.
What do you mean both, Miko? If you are now next to Musa and is with the people and with Pharaoh, he puts the snake. You just hear the snake making the sound. Zzz. Okay?
Yeah, the
Is
hissing
that,
and
okay, the hissing. Is the hissing lies? And then it says, سمعنا بهذا. What is هذا? آياتنا بينات. ما سمعنا بهذا في آبائنا الأولين. Our influencers, forefathers never gave us those signs. So the whole surah started with signs. So we all need to understand what are the signs. If I were you, that's the first question you say. They are signs. So all the stories so far didn't say the word snake. It just says asaka as a jan. That's all it says in the surah so far. And then you keep going. It all talks about his fears. It talks about what happened in Medina. And it happens what happened when he went to Midian and how he got back to the truth. And then the Prophet Shu'aib told him, you are saved now from Pharaoh. And Allah then he's back to trying to fight Pharaoh. So he heard the voice that tells him, I am Allah. So now we have to go to TaHa. But before I go to TaHa, all these questions, do they make sense to you? Don't you supposed to ask all these questions?
Then I guess, like, why is he like? What does it mean when it's saying this is invented magic? Because if
Not, I love it, that question. Now you said the word sihr. Why Fatma didn't put it magic? Because if I put it magic, now you all start to think of magic as like a magician and he brought you a snake. So what Fatma did is my way of tartil. This is what we are told by God. وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. So what are we supposed to do, Saif? What I taught you all to do. You want to go to the word sihr in the entire Quran and find it. So let's go to the entire Quran and find the word sihr. We go to Hud. وهو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام وكان عرشه على الماء ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. I say it in English. And it is it, Allah, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 periods, and its model was upon the water to test you. Which of you is best of working? And if you were to say, indeed, you are brought out after death, because that's what Hud was telling them, you're going to come out of death. لا يقولون الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا سحر مبين. Is this a snake, a magic? Or all he told them, you're going to come back after death. But they called it sihr mubin. We'll go to Seba. Now, this is in Hud, Prophet Hud. Let's see Seba. وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا. Note the word ayat and sihr are always connected. What is ayat? That's why I told you, you have to ask, what is sihr, what is ayat? وإذا تتلى عليهم آياتنا بينات قالوا ما هذا إلا رجل يريد أن يصدكم عما كان يعبد آباؤكم. The ayat, they come to tell you, don't follow your aba, don't worship like your aba. It is preventing you from your influencers. وقالوا ما هذا إلا إفك مفترى. Do you think a snake lies? They're saying this is just a lie. وقال الذين كفروا للحق. the truth. لما جاءهم إن هذا إلا سحر مبين. So what is the truth that came to them? All of the ayat of Allah. So now we have to question, is sihr something that comes to you, or ayat Allah, we're going to find them in the Qur'an? I go by the Qur'an, so let's keep going. Ibrahim. So you're going to see one prophet after another. In Surah Saba, we're talking about Muhammad. Did Muhammad perform any magic, or Muhammad just brought ayats from the Quran? A signs of God from the Quran. That by itself is magic. Did Hud bring any snake? No. Hud brought to them the signs of Allah. What are they? خلق السماوات والأرض في ستة أيام. Let's keep going. Ibrahim. وإذ قال إبراهيم لأبيه. We all know that. What are you worshipping? He said, إلا الذي فطرني فإنه سيهديني. I'm going to go to the one who originated me. وجعلها كلمة باقية في عقبه. Anyone who came after Ibrahim, he has some tawheed in him, like those who kept the path of Ibrahim. بل متعت هؤلاء وآباءهم حتى جاءهم الحق ورسول مبين. So after Ibrahim came a Rasul Mubin, which is we have Muhammad, we have Isa, we have Musa. They all brought clarifying truth. ولما جاءهم الحق, the truth, قالوا هذا سحر. So what are you trying to say, Saif, here?
I just want to say I agree. Like, there's nothing that indicates that there's a snake, and going over these verses too, like, it makes sense. But my question is, if there's no snake, which obviously in the traditional interpretation is supposed to show the people, look, like, God has given me this power to do this, that's why you should listen to me. If there's no snake, if there's no magic, if there's no nothing magic, if there's no nothing like that,
you wanted to end the class today, basically. You're telling me, I want to see what is he showing. I am trying
I want to say, yeah, how can you blame Pharaoh and his men if this guy is coming to them saying, here are the signs, and the signs are just him saying that the God created the heavens and the earth, the God did this, the God.
You're going to see it. You're going to see it. You're going to wait, because I know the end. I could have started from the end and bring you to the story, like, you know, they do in the movies, a trail, but I don't want you. I want to help you to think and learn how the Quran gives you everything. There is not a thing missing. So let's
okay, then I guess my question before you continue, at this point, do you lay blame on Pharaoh and his men for disbelieving?
You will see why. You'll see it by yourself. Don't ask me. I want you to get to learn from the Quran directly. Remember the saying, don't give someone a fish, but teach him how to fish. I want to die and leave behind me good leaders. I'm 60, Saif. How many years I have? Do you think I can finish the entire Quran? But I want to leave Mehdi and Saif and Hassan and Shada and this and that to be able to do what I'm doing here. So just like when you teach math, you don't go give answers. You teach them how to solve a problem. Let's go. الصافات بل عجبت ويسخرون وإذا ذكروا, reminded, لا يذكرون, they don't want to remember. وإذا رأوا آية يستسخرون, even when they see an ayah, they ridicule it. وقالوا إن هذا إلا سحر مبين. آية. So every time you come to people with some proof, some sign of Allah's existence, they will ridicule it. So now we want to know what ayah means. That's what I wanted to lead you. What are ayat? وقالوا, now we're talking about the people of Fir'aun. This Al-A'raf is the story of Musa now, because I brought to you the word sihr first, then I'm taking you to what is happening in the castle of Fir'aun. So in Al-A'raf it says, وقالوا مهما تأتنا به من آية. They already have their mindset. No matter what sign you bring, to do what? لِتَسْحَرَنَا بِهِ. You know, to put some sihr on us. فَمَا نَحْنُ لَكَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. What do you hear from this, Saif? What do you see from this ayah? They are saying already, no matter what sign you bring to us, we are not going to be secure to you or believe in you or have faith in you. Is that an open mind? Is this a mutahhar who goes with an open mind to learn what you want to teach him, or he's someone, just like you see the kids, for example, when they reach middle school, high school, and they start to follow Americans, dating girls, drinking, smoking, and they go home, and no matter what the parents say, oh, Allah said in Islam, it's not good for you to do that. They go, yeah, 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 yeah. But in their heart, no matter what you tell me about God, I am not listening to you. Because they already fixed their mind, this is what I'm doing. وَقَالُوا مَهْمَا تَأْتِينَ بِهِ. No matter what ayah you bring to us, we're not believing you. They already have that mindset. Because you are the one who asked the question. Don't believe, well, don't blame Fir'aun. I'm telling you, Fir'aun and these folks, they're saying, no matter ayah you bring, then look what it says. فَأَرْسَلْنَا. We sent عَلَيْهِمْ, upon them. الطوفان. Look, Fatma didn't translate Tufan. She left it. Al-Jarad. I didn't translate it. Al-Qummal. That's for a good reason. Why? Because it says ayatin mufassalat. They were detailed signs of Allah, but it says fastakbaru. They went and became more arrogant. وَكَانُوا قَوْمًا مُجْرِمِينَ. They were criminals. Because they were criminals, now وَقَعَ عَلَيْهِمْ الرِّجْسُ. This is now that Allah is asking Musa to take Bani Israel. وَلَنُرْسِلَنَّ مَعَكَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل. In Surah Tagat, it starts to explain to you what is ayat. Here it just gave you names that Fatma didn't want to translate because I know I will not have time to do it detailed with you, but I want you to see ayat. Go in Surah Tagat, you'll find the first ayah of Tagat. It says, Alif Lam Mim Ra, Tilka Ayatul Kitab. The same beginning of Surah Al-Qasas, the same beginning of Surah Yusuf. And then it starts to explain what are the ayat. It says, وَالَّذِي أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ مِنْ رَبِّكَ الْحَقِّ. You have the truth from your Lord, so don't follow any Talmud, any Bible, anything. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Most people don't have faith. Majority. Because they don't want to be among mutaharun. They don't want to learn. What are the ayat? الله الذي رفع السماوات بغير عمد ترونها. Allah has put for you the sky, there are no pillars. It is holding by some magic. That's sihr. Okay, that's why I'm saying تسحرنا. بغير عمد ترونها ثم استوى على العرش وسخر الشمس. You know, the sun is working for you. It gives you light so you can work. And then he says, يفصل الآيات. It's detailing to you الآيات. لعلكم بلقاء ربكم توقنون. So that you may believe you're going to return to your God. Isn't it that's where they told them in Surah Hud that you're going to go back to your God, and they said this is magic? So now it started to explain to you the ayat. هو الذي مد الأرض. Look at the earth is ayah. Look at what you eat is ayah. Look at everything you see. إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون, for reflecting folk. And then it brings to you the countrysides, the gardens, you know, the palm trees, whatever, ماء. And it says, إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون. All these are signs. So this is the meaning of ayat. And Allah said, يفصل الآيات. And he told Musa in Surah Al-Qasas, يفصل الآيات. So far, I didn't find the word ayat in the entire Qur'an connecting to something that suddenly was a stick, you know, a wooden stick to switch to something else. All prophets, they came with the same ayat. And the ayat is look at the existence and look at you. سنريكم آياتنا في أنفسكم. We will show you our signs in you, in your biology, in your psychology. Here Musa is a sign of psychology, the fear. And في الآفاق, in existence. So all the ayat that they call it sihr, in the Quran, it does not mean what they made us believe. Also, and this I should stop at this point to give you more room to think for next class. Also note this. You had Idris. Enoch is known as the one first teacher because Adam is the beginning of generation of the Homo sapien. You have Idris. He didn't have any magic, Nuh didn't have any magic. The ayat, they tell you sihr. The same ayat. Hud, Ibrahim, Ismail, Ishaq, Yaqub, Yusuf, Shu'aib, until we get to Musa and Bani Israel. They changed, and the Talmud now tells you that the stick became a snake. And the magic or is witchcraft that they created to get you off the true teaching of God that was coming from Idris all the way to Musa. Why only when it's Musa that we started to see all this nonsense? Why didn't it happen before when they needed the most? It's the beginning of Homo sapiens.
So then how did all of Pharaoh and his men die in that like grand ending of the story?
Oh no, you are still with the old story. What did I say at first? To be a mutahar, come with, you don't know anything about the story. You're starting now the story from the beginning. Do you know how long it took me to let go of the old story? Because I went to Islamic University and I learned from so many scholars that only believed in that nonsense. And that nonsense, Mehdi and I had a conversation yesterday. Mehdi, you can unmute yourself. We are following the Talmud. What do you say, Mehdi? Please help me. I need to drink some water.
So basically, they made us believe this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because when you think about Musa and Isa, like both of those prophets, you know, the Muslim belief with those two prophets are very influenced by the other two religions. Like even Isa, like it's, you know, just like the end time story that we, you know, we're taught to believe. And now with Musa, you have a good point. Like if you needed miracles, the miracles should have happened early on in humanity.
Evolution.
Like good point. And then even like the hands, like, you know, like your hand in the pocket. I mean,
Doesn't make sense.
wonder why I never questioned that because Janah, like when it comes to your parents, we've taught like it's like, you know, lower your wings, like your power. You know, we've learned that, and I just never clicked in my head with the story of Musa. So I mean, and then with the snake, I mean, it's making sense.
Now, asa, we know the root word of asa comes from asaya. Asaya is when you make a mistake. Through the whole story, Isa was in that conflict within him. He had the fears because his mother was nurturing him, who's the true God. But she used to put the fear in him, be careful from Pharaoh, be careful from Pharaoh, because he was also a soldier of Pharaoh. So he was in that conflict all his life. He was in the confusion and the fear until he got to that energy field when he felt the presence of Allah. And Allah told him, deliver this fear, deliver this asa, deliver this thing that's not letting you be. And he cannot go and face Pharaoh until he let go of that. So if you notice, when Allah has asked Musa, Alqi asaka, was just him and Allah only in the story. Then next week, I'll show you when he was him and Pharaoh. And that's what Tahir was telling me before. I'm interested to see how the story ends. So I think we cannot end the story today. We still have one Sunday on December. So don't miss the ending of the story. That's if I can end it next week, because sometimes I think like this is the end. Then I sit and then I find my higher self, call it Allah, Malaika, whatever. I decided last week to just go walk in the park, and I thought I'm going to just do like 5-6 miles like I do usually. That day, I think as I'm walking, I got into trance, and I didn't realize. I came home and I looked at my watch and I did 10 miles. But in that 10 miles, I downloaded the entire story. And I was even guided where I can prove everything. So when you seek the truth, that's why it says, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. I'm not saying I'm a mutahar and you're not, but how you become a mutahar. Purge, let go of the old belief. Come to every story as if it's the first time you're going to discover it from the Qur'an. And the beauty of the Qur'an is wonderful, because it tells you how it happened here, the word here, the word here, the word here. So I think I have it, but I cannot do it without going through the proofs. So the ending, like you said, Safe, how that and this happened, that we have to do it with the ayat. So you see where they played. They're very, very smart in changing the word from its position. Only Nasir can help me with that. He loves how he digs into them. They're very clever. They played with the wording like crazy. Because if you just give me, like, it's
Yeah.
against the teaching of, if a stick becomes a snake, it's against the teaching of Allah that it tells you in an ayah that all messengers are people like you and you learn from them. If you can change to Musa a stick and it becomes a snake, I should be able to do that too, but I'm not able to do it. But I'm able to work on my fears. I'm able to work on my mistakes. I'm able to change my guilt and shame and all of that to power. That's why he's telling him, Usluk yadaka, basically use your power within you. You can activate all the attributes of Allah that you were born with them, the spark of Allah that you have within you. Just let's say, Safe, you are young, you and Ayman and Hassan, Shada, all of that. You're young. You've been in American high schools. You've been in the pressure. You've been in college, the drinking and the smoking and all of these things. Yet you guys never did that. Why? Because you still have that spark of light within you, that power, that teaching of your mother. You know, the mothers, we've been teaching you. You come to school, you never missed. So, but yet when you make a mistake, I'm sure you go home and you can't sleep with it. You worry about it. Why did I do? Brother Kharam said, if I yell at my kids, I can't sleep with it. But if you can't sleep with the guilt and the shame, you cannot become a leader. You need to learn how to face your fears and how you change them to power, because the mistakes are nothing. They're experiences that they teach you to become a leader. From your own mistakes, you can lead others. You say, I've done this, it didn't work, it's not good. And that's how we evolve, our consciousness evolve. Can you say something, Brother Khoram? Go ahead.
Yeah, I know we're over time, and I forgive me for
It's okay.
introducing.
Now it's discussion. I'm not sharing any
Okay.
document.
Okay. Thank you. I'm so grateful for this conversation, which has been opening up a lot for me over the last few weeks. I just read God, A Human History by Reza Aslan, and something that was hard to read intellectually is now easier to read from my heart. There's no material historical evidence of a departure or even an enslavement of, and the Egyptians were, it was the most elaborate bureaucracy in human history to that point. And so the record keeping of thousands of enslaved people would have been overwhelmingly abundant to historians to this day. There's no evidence of a crossing over. There's no evidence of any of the things that are described in the traditional Old Testament story that we could attribute to like a material history. But he's, also, I think, deeply curious about the spiritual meaning of these things, and so leaves a lot of opening to what this story means for us in our own spiritual evolution. And I feel like today, especially the back and forth with you and Saif, and then the way Mahdi came in it was really great. It was just like really helpful for me because it helped kind of break away this persistent need to try to read the Quran as a historical kind of log of events and to experience it for what it's here for, our spiritual refinement and our development as a people, as a species. And so I'm just feeling really grateful because it's hard when you hear that there's no material evidence of a Passover, right? There's no material evidence of enslavement. There's no material evidence of a chosen people that were brought to Egypt and then went to the promised land. There's nothing, not a scratch. And then so it's so disruptive to even the visualizations that I've created about what I associate with Musa's greatness. But then the great benefit of this class, among the many benefits, is I don't just leave with this some sort of atheistic nihilism. It's not like, okay, well then nothing matters, right? Nothing is true. It's more like, okay, what was his greatness then? And this opens me up to a far more profound, appreciation for how that greatness relates to my own and all of our own respective greatness. Subhanallah. So yeah, I sorry for the long footnote,
No,
but just
it's
to
really
really
great. I
appreciate
love when
today.
people, like I said, I send an email. I want to interact. By the way, when you said me and Safe back and forth, I just wanted to let Safe know I had a meeting yesterday with my group of MBT, and they said, "Oh, we love that young guy that you're doing videos with him. He's really helping us to understand Islam." And they said, "Oh, we only did few videos." And they said, like, "You need to do more. You need to do more. He's teaching us the Islam that you never did." Because me, I go to the class and they don't want to talk. I go with my group just to meditate and download information, but I don't like to feel I'm forcing Islam on them. So now the videos that I'm doing with Safe, they really loving them. They said, like, "Can you do more of videos?" So maybe Safe, we do this story of Musa, put it out there. Because I also did a lots of research about Musa after TaHa. And I found that, like you said, some archaeological evidence or the holographic stories and all of these things. I found, where is the truth and where are the lies? And then that's Surah Al-Ankabut, where it says, you're going to walk in land and find the truth anyway. Like with time, we're going to find it. Now with the internet, we can work on that. But I am very, very happy and pleased to see today all these youth were very busy. We didn't see them the whole semester. So now that they are back, I think with the next week, when they see how I'll bring the things together, how I put the puzzle together. Now, what you need to remember, we should end with this. I will just share this. We started with it, and I want you to go home with it. You need to remember that this Quran, إنه لقرآن كريم, very generous with information. When you start to look for it, seek it, ask for it. في كتاب مكنون. It's really concealed. You just have to dig into it word for word, letter per letter. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. I mean, to me, if Allah is telling you only those who are purged or purified or cleansed can touch it, then it means most of our Muslim Ummah are not into the Quran. They are really repeating the Hadith, which is taken directly from Talmud. I loved, Mahdi, can you repeat yesterday your remark about the Hadith and the Talmud? When you said only one Hadith can push me out. And we'll end with that.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I mean, there's a lot of similarities between the two when you look at their beliefs and their. So even if there's like one false hadith, you should now start to question everything,
Mm-hmm.
or at least look at it, right? You can't just believe things without looking into it more. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
So,
this throwaway line in Albert Haruni's History of the Arab Peoples, where he's sort of remarking on how surprised he is at this deeply intellectual tradition of Muslim scholars who have absolutely not taken on Mehdi's very basic kind of critical thinking practice of saying, well, some of these seem like they're very convenient for certain political systems and empires, and some of these hadiths fit really neatly into a convenient dynasties political interest. And he just remarks on the kind of how anomalous it is for a tradition that's so deeply steeped in scholarship, critical thinking, intellectual honesty, curiosity, to just not look at the hadith that way. And so that just reminded me of that throwaway line from Albert Haruni's, classic book.
thank you. Thank you. To end, I wanted to just remind you again, this book by Ibn al-Arabi, Sheikh al-Akbar, he did not write it to public. His notes to his most close friend that he was working with. Just like, for example, me, I have private class, let's say, with Mehdi because he's teaching the youth. And I tell him things that I'm afraid to say them in public. Okay? That's this book. This book, I told you, and I repeat it, at the end, He is the asa. He said the asa was never a stick. And Ibn al-Arabi is saying the exact same thing. The asa was never a stick, and he said it's coming from asiya. And then he proved it beautifully, which next week I will show you what he said versus also what I found on my own. So I was telling Mehdi yesterday, the truth is in the field. Okay, al-Muttaharun, the kitab is there. The truth is there. It's in the records. Now, Ibn al-Arabi wanted the truth, and he was seeker of truth, and he did not accept the tradition. So he did tap to the truth. I did the same path. That's why Musa said, Ihdini tariqan sawiya, guide me to the truth, to istiwa, to the complete path. You'll be guided. Then you'll find the same information. That's not Ibn Arabi or Fatima. That's everyone. I see Mehdi when he does an ayah, like yesterday when we were talking about Surah Al-Hadid. I see him, he says things before I say them. Why? Because we're taking the same path now. It's to question and to dig deep and work from the heart, and don't be follower. And I insist, don't follow anyone, whether Muslim or non-Muslim. Find the truth, because otherwise you're a blind believer. You don't have faith from your own heart and your own experience. I see you then, inshallah, next week to finish the puzzle. Love you all. Salam, everyone. Okay, and